Hello everyone and welcome back to the Power Apps testing series. This is the second part and we are going to focus on test engine. So my name is Clavin and I'm a Microsoft Business Applications MVP. So what is a test engine? A test engine is an open source project designed to offer unified automated testing platform to all Power Platform applications. When I say all, don't be confused. It works only for Canvas apps as of now. Okay? For all Canvas applications. This has many benefits. First thing, you already know how Test Studio works, but you can take it a little bit further by using Test Engine. Let's start from the last point. A test engine can record your test execution. That is, it can record a video and it can also take screenshots. Secondly, you don't need to learn a new programming language, such as JavaScript, or understand the document object model or the DOM. It eliminates DOM abstraction. When it comes to a new programming language, Microsoft has made it easier. You can use the PowerFX language to go ahead and write your test plans. And you should know a little bit of YAML. Finally, you can also do connector mocking, that is, mock the network calls. So that being said, what are the prerequisites for a test engine? Firstly, it runs on a computer. So you need to have a computer, a Windows-based computer. You need to install .NET Core SDK. Make sure that the environmental variable is set to the .NET Core SDK. You should have PowerShell installed. And finally, you should have Git bashes. So that being said, once you have these prerequisites, the next step would be to use the test engine. So to use the test engine, you need to build, import, set up the config files, set up the authentication, and run the test. So that being said, we'll stop here and we'll get into the demo. So here, my friends, I have my computer. I'll go into my C drive. I will create a folder. A note out here, I have installed all the prerequisites to save up some time. I'll give this a name, test engine demo. And the first thing that I'll do is I'll clone the Git repository. So I'll say git bash here. So that's the reason why I have git bash installed. And I'm going to clone a repository. So let me show you what repository I'm going to clone. So I'll open it in Chrome. And this is the repository that I'm going to clone, the Power Apps test engine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this URL. I'm going to go to git bash and I'm going to say git clone and paste it here. Perfect. So the repository has been cloned. That's perfect. Once the repository has been cloned, I will open PowerShell. I already have the PowerShell installed. So I'll open PowerShell ISE. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to cd to a folder. So the folder that I'm going to cd is test engine, source, and Power Apps test engine. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to say cd and paste it in here. Okay. So now I'm into this particular repo inside a particular folder named as Power Apps test engine. Then I'm going to use the .NET command, that is .NET build. If you have the prerequisites, this should run without an error. If you see, I have the prerequisites installed, so that's why it is building it. It might take a few seconds for it to build. Perfect. So it has built with no warnings and no errors. Next, what I'm going to do is, now that this is built, I will get into the test engine root folder, and I'm going to navigate into the bin because this has built now, bin, debug, Power Apps test engine. And here I want to use a file and install the Playwright. So Playwright is the test engine that is being used to go ahead and do browser-based automation testing. And we need to run this script. How do we run this script? So first things first, again, do a cd and get into this path. So cd. Perfect. And then I'm going to run a command such as /playwright.ps1, and I'm going to say install. Okay, I'm going to copy this command and keep it here because I will share this particular PowerShell file with you so that you can follow along whenever you want to use it. So this will install the Playwright. It's installed. If it doesn't install, it will give you an error. Now that it has been installed, the next step would be to go and try to build it. So again, let me get into this folder. That is the Power Apps test engine. And I'll say .NET build. Let's see if it builds. Perfect. It builds without any problems. So now that I have built the solution, the next and the important step would be to go ahead and update the config.json file. So the config.json file is out here. This is the config.json file. I need to update few of the values and save it as config.dev.json. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the properties which are absolutely required. So these are the minimum required properties, right? So firstly, let me look at what it needs. It needs the environment ID, the tenant ID, the test plan. We'll talk about the test plan file in a bit, and the output directory. So what I'm going to do out here is going to launch Power Apps, and I'm going to click on settings, and I'm going to click on session details. So what I need is everything from here. I'm going to copy it and keep it handy with me. And I'll just put it somewhere in a PowerShell or in a notepad, right? So here I can get my tenant ID. I can get my environmental ID. I need to put in an output folder. That is where my recording or the screenshots will be stored. And I also need the test plan. So what we are going to do, as we are doing the first demo out here, we'll use one of the samples. We'll use the basic gallery sample and we'll use this test plan, okay? So let me quickly go ahead and fill in the blanks and author the config file such that we can use it. Perfect. So I have authored the config file, and here if you see, it has environment ID, tenant ID, test plan file. Okay, the test plan file is the file that I have referenced here. I have used a proper file path. This is what you need to use. You cannot do copy as path and put it in. And I'm storing the output in the samples output folder. So I will create an output folder out here such that it can go ahead and store my sample files output. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on save as, say all, and I'm going to save this as config.dev.json. Come on, I should type in correctly. Perfect. So this has been saved. This is awesome. So config.dev.json. I will go into the basic out here. This is the test plan. This looks good to me as well. And let me go ahead and actually open the test plan. I need to open this test plan. So before opening this test plan, I have uploaded this particular package as a solution in my Power Apps. So if I go back and if I go into back to solutions, I have imported the basic gallery package out here. If you don't know how to import a solution, you just click on import and select the zip file. That's pretty much it. So now that I have set up the config file, the next step would be to go ahead and set up the credentials. To set up the credentials, first we look at the test plan. So I will say open, and it opens in a notepad, and it tells me that I need to set up environmental variables such as user1, user1.email, user1 password, right? User1 password. So let me do that real quick. I'll set up environmental variables. Now, an important note out here, we are going to talk about the limitations, but most importantly, you need to know that out of the box, this does not support MFA. So here I have created a test user and I'm going to go ahead and create these environmental variables. Now that the environmental variables have been created, the next step would be to go and do a .NET run. So I'll go back here, say .NET run. Okay. So if everything has worked as expected, it should execute it, but it did not. So it seems that we need to do some live troubleshooting out here. So let me go back. Okay, so I'm reviewing the logs and it seems that I have got incorrect text definition. This means that there's something wrong in the config file that I set up. So I'm going to go back again. I'm going to go into SRC, going into test engine. I'm going into this config file first. It tells me that I missed out the extension YAML. So I need to save this. As a best practice, I should go back. I should also go back into the bin, debug, test engine, open this config file, and again here as well. So human error. Perfect. Save. I will open this one as well. I'll put this one as well as .yaml. And I'll save this one as well. At this point, I should be able to hit .NET run. And if everything is correctly configured, I should be able, there should be a test result. Now, this is the beauty of logging. Logging is very good because of this particular reason, and all of those who are taking screenshot and trying to access this particular credentials, please understand this, that I have reset the password already for this particular account. Perfect. So it tells me that the test has passed. So if I go back out here and if I click on samples, now if I click on output and open the latest test, come on, open the latest one. So date modified, yeah, this one. I should see firstly screenshots. Perfect. So screenshots are there. And then I should also see a WebM recording. So I can just say open with the media player. Hopefully this works. Okay, media player does not support it, so that's fine. Let me try to open it in a browser. Okay, So let's see the recording of how it worked. So you see that it automatically went ahead and logged in with our credentials. And then it tried to do a basic gallery test, as in, if you look at closely, when the user selects a particular gallery, the text updates, that is lorem ipsum 2, end of test updated in the label. So that's awesome. So, this way you can automate test results. That being said, let's go back into our slides and quickly revisit what we need to know. So first things first, this is how your test template looks like, right? So you have a test suite. Under the test suite, you have test description, the person's name, the app logical name, the application ID, etc. Then you have the test cases. You can see it here. Then you have test settings, and then you have recording true false, and then you have the environmental variables. Now the big question out here is about the test, right? About the test plan. How can I get the test plan? So what Microsoft has done, if you had been to my last particular video in this blog series, we created a test plan, right? So it was a sample app. Okay, it was not the sample app. So it was apps. Okay, I'm logged in with the wrong user, but let me log in with the right user. So let's take into consideration this particular app. And if we want to go ahead and have a test plan, we can simply download the plan from the test studio and use it. It should give us all the meaningful data that we need, including the test cases. So if I go in here, I go to advanced, open test. And if I try to download this suite, you would see that this test suite actually goes ahead and represents this. It has all the important details like app logical names and everything that you need, right? You can fine tune this and you can use it in your test plan as a test plan. So the app logical name is here, etc., etc., etc. And if you see, the credentials are being passed in a way it has been passed by us. So, using your existing test plan is also possible. So that being said, let's look at the limitation. We already know that MFA is not supported if your browser has a locale, which is other than E and English. You might have to make changes. Modern controls are not supported. Finally, troubleshooting. We already saw that how the debug logs can go ahead and help us. But what if we want to troubleshoot a little bit more? You can actually change your test plan. So let me go into here. Let me go into gallery. Let me click on test plan. And here, what I can do is I should be able to add settings. So let me add some test settings. So firstly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make this. Okay, so let me set it to false and let me save it. Right at this point, I can go back here and I can say .NET run. And now what it should do is, instead of working this in the background, it should open a browser, in this case Chromium, and it should show me. So if you have any problems out here, it should go ahead and highlight it. For example, if your credentials are incorrect, etc., etc. I'll close this because you already saw one way of doing it. The next thing that I have seen often is that it times out. So I usually set up a higher timeout value, saying that the timeout should be around 60,000, right? So that's another thing. You can also go ahead and choose a different browser. So if you have So if you're planning to use Mozilla or Firefox, you can use Firefox out here. So I can use Firefox and automate this test engine, test case as well. So I can just again .NET run, and this will do the same test case in Firefox instead of Chromium. Another browser that is supported is WebKit. So if you see out here, it has launched Firefox and it's doing the testing. So, you can go ahead and troubleshoot out here. But that being said, if nothing works, you should always do a pull request and submit a bug, because this is something that is being worked upon. So you can do a pull request, you can submit your issues out here, and depending on that, they will go ahead and try to resolve your problems, right? So it is possible. You can create a new issue, tell the team about it, and the problems should be resolved by them. So I think that's pretty much it. I hope that you have learned a little bit more about testing. And thank you for your time. Have a great day and bye-bye.